Hey everyone, I hope you guys had a great weekend. So I'm going to try this again and hope my computer's going to work. I've been having some issues with it. So the first thing I wanted to go over was looking at adding fractions with unlike denominators. So last week we looked at adding them when the denominator is the same, where we just add the top numbers, which is our numerator, and we keep the denominator the same. When they don't have the same denominator, we need to find a common denominator for them. So we do that by finding which number goes into both of the denominators. So here we have 3 and 6. So 6 goes into both 6 and 3. 3 times 2 is 6, so whatever we do to the bottom number, we also have to make sure we do to the top number. So since we multiplied our 3 times 2 to get 6, we're going to multiply the 1 times 2 to get 2. So then when we have them over the same denominator, we can just add them like we did last week. So we would add the 2 plus the 1 to give us 3 over 6. Just like right here. Okay. So this week I just have some examples for us to do together. So our first example, we have 3 over 10 plus 1 over 5. So we have to find which number goes into both 10 and 5. And you can use your multiplication chart to pull this up. But 10 is going to be the number that goes into both of them. So both of our fractions are going to be over 10. Okay. Since this one is already over 10, we don't have to do anything to change it. So it can stay the same. Our second one, though, we have to figure out 5 times what will give us 10. So if we look at our multiplication chart, which I did not pull up, it's going to be times 2. So we're going to multiply this fraction times 2. So 5 times 2 gives us 10. So since we multiplied the bottom times 2, we're going to also multiply the top times 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. So now that both of our fractions are over the same number, we can add them. When we add them, we just add the top numbers. So we have 3 plus 2, which is 5 over 10. And 5 over 10, then we're going to simplify that. And 5 over 10 simplifies to 1/2. So down here at our next example, we have 2 over 5 plus 1 over 3. So we have to figure out what goes into both 5 and 3. That number is going to be 15. Okay, So 5 times 3 gives us 15. And 3 times 5 gives us 15. So we multiplied 5 times 3 to get 15, so whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So we have 2 times 3, which is 6. We multiplied 3 times 5 to get 15, so we're going to multiply 1 times 5, which is 5. And then we can add. So we have 6 plus 5 is 11. So we have 11 over 15. Down here for our next one, we have 2 over 3 plus 3 over 4. The smallest number that goes into both 3 and 4 is going to be 12. Again, you can use your multiplication chart to help you. Look for the least common multiples of your denominators. Okay, so 3 times 4 will give us 12. So this fraction is going to get multiplied times 4. And 4 times 3 is 12. So this fraction is going to get multiplied times 3. So we multiplied 3 times 4 to get 12. So we're going to multiply 2 times 4 to get 8. Over here we multiplied 4 times 3 to get 12. So we're going to multiply 3 times 3 and get 9. Okay. Now that they're over the same number, we can add. So we have 8 plus 9, which is 17. So we have 17 over 12. Okay, this is called an improper fraction because our numerator is greater than our denominator. So we need to simplify it. When we simplify it, we get 1. So it would be 1. 12 over 12 is a 1 whole. So we would do 17 minus 12, which would give us 5 over 12. Our next one, we have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 5. So we have to figure out what number goes into both 2 and 5. So that's going to be 10 is the least common multiple of 2 and 5. So 2 times 5 gives us 10, and 5 times 2 gives us 10. So because we multiplied 2 times 5 to get 10, we're going to multiply 1 times 5 to get 5. Over here we multiplied 5 times 2 to get 10. So we're going to multiply 1 times 2 to get 2. Now that they're over the same number, we can add. So 5 plus 2 is 7 over 10. Okay, we have 1 over 2 plus 2 over 4. So we need to figure out what number goes into both 2 and 4 equally. So that's going to be 4. So 2 times 2 is 4. So because we multiplied the bottom times 2, we need to multiply the top times 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. And we didn't change our second fraction, so it's going to stay 2 over 4. So we we add the top together, so 2 plus 2 is 4. So we have 4 over 4. And 4 over 4 simplifies into 1 whole. Our next one, we have 2 over 3 plus 2 over 10. To figure out what goes into both 10 and 3. So the least common multiple for that is going to be 30. Okay. 3 times 10 equals 30. And 10 times 3 equals 30. So we multiplied the bottom times 10, so over here we're going to multiply the top. So we have 2 times 10, which is 20. Multiply 10 times 3 to get 30, so we're going to multiply 2 times 3, which gives us 6. And then we can add. 20 plus 6 is 26 over 30. And since both of these numbers are even, we know that at least 2 goes into both of them. So 2 goes into 26 13 times. And 2 goes into 30 15 times. So our answer is 13 over 15. Our next one, we have 1 over 4 plus 1 over 3. We have to figure out what number goes into both 4 and 3. So the least common multiple is going to be 12. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12. So because we multiplied the bottom times 3, we're going to multiply the top times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And 1 times 4 is 4. and then we add. So 3 plus 4 is 7 over 12. Our next one, we have 4 and 3 again. So just like up here, we're going to put both of them over 12. Four times 3 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12. So because we multiplied the bottom times 3, we're going to multiply the top. So 3 times 3 is 9. And over here, we multiplied the bottom times 4, so we're going to multiply the top times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. We're going to add. 9 plus 4 is 13 over 12. Again, this is an improper fraction, so we have to figure out how many times 12 goes into 13, which is 1 whole time. 13 minus 12 is 1, so our answer is 1 and 1/12. Our next one, we have 1 over 2 plus 2 over 3. To figure out what goes into both 2 and 3, that is going to be 6. Okay, 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6. So we multiplied the bottom times 3, now we're going to multiply the top times 3, so we have 1 times 3 is 3. We multiplied the bottom by 2, so we're going to multiply the top times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And we can add. So our bottom number stays the same. We have 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 over 6 is an improper fraction. So we divide and we get 1 and 1 over 6. Down here we have 1 over 2 plus 2 over 10. So the least common multiple of both 10 and 2 would be 10. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10. So we multiplied the bottom times 5, we have to multiply the top times 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Our second fraction is over 10, so it's going to stay the same. And then we add. Denominator stays the same at 10. And our top, we have 5 plus 2, which is 7. So our answer is 7 over 10. Here we have 3 over 5 plus 1 over 2. So we find the least common multiple of both 5 and 2, which just like up here, so further up, it's going to be 10. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 times 5 is 10. So we multiplied 5 times 2 to get 10, so we're going to multiply our top number 3 times 2, which is 6. Right here we multiplied 2 times 5 to get 10, so we're going to multiply 1 times 5, which is 5. And then we can add. Our bottom number stays the same. On our top number we have 6 plus 5, which is 11. 11 over 10 is an improper fraction. So 10 goes into 11 one whole time. And there's still 1 left over. So our answer is 1 and 1/10. A trick you can remember now that we've done a bunch of these. So here, to get 10, we just multiplied these together. Here we have 2 and 3 to get 6. 2 times 3, 3 times 2. So you can multiply your denominators together to get your least common multiple, especially if they're only a number off. 4 times 3 is 12. Again, 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 10 is 30. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15. So that's just a simple way you can use to help you find the least common multiple. Okay. So we have 5 over 10 plus 3 over 4, 10 and 4. Our number is actually going to be 20. Ten times 2 is 20, and 4 times 5 is 20. Okay. So we multiplied 10 times 2 to get 20, so we're going to multiply 5 times 2, which is 10. For here we multiplied 4 times 5 to get 20, so we're going to multiply 3 times 5 to get 15. 10 plus 15 is 25 over 20. Okay, now we're going to simplify that. 20 goes into 25 one whole time with 5 left over. So we have 1 and 5 over 20. However, 5 over 20 is not in simplest terms. So we need to simplify that. 5 goes into both 5 and 20. 5 goes into 5 one time, and 5 goes into 24 times. So our final answer is going to be 1 and 1/4. Okay, we're going to do one more. So we have 2 over 3 plus 3 over 5. The number that goes into both 3 and 5 is 15. So 3 times 5 is 15. And 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, so we multiplied 3 times 5 to get 15, so we're going to multiply 2 times 5, which is 10. 5 times 3 is 15, so we're going to do 3 times 3, which is 9. And then we add 10 plus 9 is 19. Over 15. It's an improper fraction, so we have 1 and 4 over 15. I'm going to go ahead and stop there for today. If you have any questions, please always feel free to email me. And if not, have a great rest of your week.